Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Propel Student Work Placement Program info session. This session will be presented by Joe Baker, Director of Tourism HR Canada, and Rachel George, Project Manager with Tourism HR Canada. I'm your host, Dan McDonald, Sales and Marketing Development Associate with Baxter Media, and today is Thursday, April 14th. Baxter Media, of course, is the largest, most trusted provider of travel industry news and information in Canada. Just before we get into things, I'd like to let our viewers know that at the end of this session, you'll have a chance to ask questions if you haven't already. To do so, just type them into the Q&A section of the public chat box, which will be towards the right-hand side of the screen, and those questions will be answered in due time. We'll be doing that during a Q&A session at the end. Be sure to attend the full duration of today's session, but anyone that joins late will be able to watch the recorded version tomorrow afternoon. And remember, this is live, so your patience is appreciated during any technical difficulties that might arise. I will now hand things over to Joe Baker, Director of Tourism HR Canada. Welcome, Joe. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Dan. Welcome, everybody. We are excited to be presenting the Propel Student Work Placement Program to you. This is a program that was designed by Tourism HR Canada and funded by the Canadian government. And I have the amazing opportunity to introduce my colleague, Rachel George, who is going to extend our welcome, get us underway, and then we'll get right into the presentation. Over to you, Rachel.
Thank you very much, Joe, and thank you, Dan. Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Before I introduce our agenda for the presentation today, allow me to start us off with a land acknowledgement. While this event is virtual, we would like to acknowledge that across Canada, we are meeting on lands that have been inhabited by Indigenous peoples from the beginning. Tourism HR Canada acknowledges that our office is on the unceded, unsurrendered territory of the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation, whose presence here reaches back to time immemorial. Tourism HR Canada recognizes the Algonquins as the customary keepers and defenders of the Ottawa River watershed and its tributaries. We honor their long history of welcoming many nations to this beautiful territory and uphold and uplift the voice and values of our host nation. We invite all attendees to join us in meaningfully and thoughtfully acknowledging the oppression of lands, cultures, and the original peoples in what we now know as Canada, and to consider how we can each move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. Our presentation today will be a high-level introduction to the program. We'll start off with a 2-minute video clip on Propel on this program. And after that, I will be handing over to Joe Baker, who will lead us in an introduction and how you as a student can participate in this program. In this presentation, you will discover what's in it for you, where you can find placements in this industry, what steps you could take to get involved, and some information on the eligibility criteria. There will be time for questions at the end, where Joe and I would be happy to answer your questions or provide extra clarification on some of the things we've shared with you. We will also have our contact information and the Propel web address up on the slide towards the end for you if you wanted to reach out to us directly after the presentation today. Great, and that's it. Let's go on to watch the video. Over to you, Dan, please.
Propel Student Work Placement Program is a new initiative to help the tourism and hospitality sector recover from the devastating impacts of the pandemic. It is powered by Tourism HR Canada and funded by the Government of Canada. Propel creates a direct link between post-secondary students who are looking to enhance their workplace skills through work-integrated learning opportunities and employers who can provide valuable experience while also showcasing a multitude of career pathways in the industry. Students will get paid hands-on learning and mentoring with special consideration for underrepresented groups, and they will have opportunities to develop the work-ready skills required to secure meaningful employment in the tourism and hospitality sector upon graduation. Employers will acquire much-needed early talent interested in working in the industry and will be provided with a wage subsidy of up to $5,000 for each student hired through the program. Post-secondary institutions will be the bridge, complementing existing work-integrated learning programming and connecting students with hundreds of workplace opportunities across Canada. Propel is open to domestic students enrolled at recognized post-secondary institutions and registered Canadian businesses, startups, and not-for-profits related to the tourism and hospitality sector. There has never been a better time to explore work-integrated learning, and there has never been a greater need for new talent. Apply now for fall, winter, and summer semesters. Visit propelcareers.ca to get started today.
Thank you very much, Dan. And now I will hand over back to Joe Baker, who can walk us through some of this information, how you can participate. Over to you, Joe.
Great. Thank you so much, Rachel. Hope everybody got a good sense of what Propel is all about through that video. Just before we get into the details, I just wanted to share a tiny little bit about my background. Before working with Rachel and the team at Tourism HR Canada on the Propel program, when we went to the federal government and said, the hospitality and tourism industry needs a wage subsidy program that supports employers who are going to hire and pay for post-secondary students to do their work integrated learning experiences in the hospitality and tourism industry. I spent a number of years in the education sector, specifically in schools of hospitality, tourism, and culinary arts. At one point as dean at a college in Toronto called Centennial College, and for a number of years at George Brown College within their Center for Hospitality and Culinary Arts as a chair and as a director, working with a lot of different teams. So all of that is to say, I understand the perspective that you are taking as you are going through this process. And what I want to do most importantly, other than the facts and the details of the program we're going to share as we go through here, is just to give you a moment of encouragement. Pursuing a work integrated learning experience within the hospitality and tourism sector as an extension of your program of study within hospitality and tourism is a really meaningful and important step forward in terms of building your career. And the hospitality and tourism industry is a great place to build careers in the short term, in the medium term, and in the long term. And our industry is really excited to have you, and we need your help right now as we recover from the devastation of the pandemic, recognizing that you yourself have experienced challenges being post-secondary students through this difficult time. Just leverage all of that experience that you've gained to date as resilience for what you're about to experience as you begin your career. So just a note to wish you great luck and great success. Let's move through understanding the Propel program. So first of all, this is a program that is in place that provides wage subsidies to employers who are going to pay you for a work integrated learning opportunity. Now, work integrated learning is a term that has really developed over the last 3 to 5 years. And it's a term that essentially summarizes the various forms of co-op, field placement, work experience, internship, externship, all of those things that are part of your program fall under the umbrella of work integrated learning. And the Propel Student Work Placement Program is designed to provide wage subsidies to employers who are going to hire you for paid work integrated learning experiences. So as you're going through this process, we will let you know where you need to go and what you need to do. But there are really 3 key takeaways we want you to focus on. Go to our website, which is propelcareers.ca. That will be everywhere. There is a portal there where you can go in and create a profile and look for these opportunities from across the country, from throughout the year. Or if you're working with an organization, you're attending a college or a university that already uses the Magnet or the Outcome Campus Connect platform, which is what was used to design Propel, you're probably already seeing some of these opportunities. So we need you to go right into that system and apply for a work integrated learning experience, just like you would, regardless of what your plans were before you knew about this program. At some point in that process, you do need to provide proof of enrollment, registration documentation. It's not too difficult to get your hands on, but that's really important just to ensure that the government funds are being directed to support students who are enrolled in post-secondary programs right now. That's one of the big requirements of this program. And your program, your academic program, needs to have some formal component of work integrated learning. So this funding and these positions aren't available as part-time jobs or summer employment. This funding is available for any of the number of different classifications of work integrated learning. Like I said, co-op, field placement, internship, externship, work experience, any of those things. So your program needs to have a component of work integrated learning. Assuming you go in, you apply for an opportunity, you've uploaded all that documentation, you're hired by a company, just like all of the other things that your faculty and your teams in the colleges and universities that you're in have encouraged you to do. We want you to get all the way through it and to the end, because we know that these are really great opportunities for you to launch your career. So those are the three key takeaways. Everybody will get a copy of this presentation. All this information is available everywhere. So we'll find other ways to make sure that you are well informed. So paid experience is an interesting thing. Got to say, as somebody who spent lots of time in the post-secondary sector myself, recognizing that sometimes it is challenging, and maybe it remains to be challenging for students specifically enrolled in hospitality and tourism programs to find paid work integrated learning experiences. That's why for you accessing our portal, you're accessing work integrated learning experiences that we have committed to supporting through these wage subsidies, which essentially means that they are paid experiences for you. So another really great reason to go on to propelcareers.ca and look at these opportunities is that they are all paid. This is hands-on experience. We talk generally about the hospitality and tourism industry, but we recognize that there's a lot of diversity in that field. There are really 5 subsectors of our industry. There's the food and beverage industry, there's the hotels and accommodations, travel services, transportation, recreation, entertainment, events. So there are lots of different things that are supported by this program. It's really important because you gain valuable knowledge that the only place you can really learn is on the job. The academic programs across this country are really fabulous, but the things that you will learn on the job while doing these placements complement the academic delivery of your program. And ultimately, the placements, because of the work that we've done with our employer partners who go on to be the places that you do your work integrated learning experiences, they're aligned with the school semester. So they are posting opportunities for the fall, for the winter, for the spring, summer semesters. So regardless of when your placement is, we have opportunities and employers standing by to support you throughout the year. So where are the places? You heard me rattle off those 5 different subsectors. Accommodations really are hotels, motels, large resorts, small operations. And of course, if you've studied a hospitality program, a hotel management program, you'll know that there's a lot of diversity within the accommodations sector, which means there are some really unique work integrated learning experiences there. Food and beverage services is a technical term that really describes the restaurant industry, the catering industry, but it also could be the food or beverage side of that hotel industry or of the special events industry. Food and beverage is actually the largest employer within the umbrella of the tourism and hospitality industry. So there are a lot of those jobs. And certainly as we all navigate our way through the other side of this pandemic, with optimism as health conditions allow us to return back to full levels of business, which means that industry is constantly looking for really talented people to do their work integrated learning and then build their careers. Recreation and entertainment, so especially in the spring, summer season, this is a really great time if you're looking for work integrated learning experiences in anything that's maybe outdoors, lots of adventure tourism companies, lots of amazing places for you to go and experience these work integrated learning experiences throughout this country. The entertainment industry is very much aligned with the hospitality and tourism industry, whether that's an event venue, a concert venue, live music festival, lots of those opportunities out there. Transportation, of course, really refers to things like airlines and cruise lines and anything related to buses and other forms of transportation that move people around to support this industry. And then travel services tends to be both inbound and outbound travel experiences. So maybe you're working for a travel agency, maybe you're working for an agency that supports incoming sales specifically related to the tourism industry and the travel industry. So there are lots of those opportunities. Really challenge you to take some time to search within yourself to identify where it is that you're looking to build your career and try to align a work integrated learning experience against your ultimate goals. Events, concerts, meetings, conventions, museums, galleries, sustainability, research, destination marketing, cultural heritage sites. That's why the tourism industry is so dynamic and so exciting. There is really something here for everybody. And right now is a great time to be looking for paid work integrated learning experiences because our industry is just starting to ramp back up after the challenging time that we've experienced through the pandemic. Okay, so getting started. Now, some of you within the institutions that you're studying have careers offices, or you might actually have support right within your school or within your faculty, people whose responsibility it is to help you with your work integrated learning. Or there could be faculty members, your program coordinators, or your chairs who are actually helping you navigate this time. Or in some cases, it's completely independent and in your hands. And so for all of those reasons, we believe that the best place for you to go to look for opportunities is propelcareers.ca. And this is an immediate shortcut, which is apply.propelcareers.ca, which essentially is the destination for you as a student. In this case, you are classified as a job seeker because the platform that we've used, which is called Outcome Campus Connect, is a platform that is also used as a job board. So in this process, you are actually a job seeker and you are looking for jobs that are in the form of work integrated learning. We need you to log in there. We need you to create a job seeker account. It's fairly straightforward. It takes a little bit of time, but then we do need you to apply for those student paid placements on your own. This is all about giving you the skills and experience that you're going to require to have a successful career. So if we help you through this process, we aren't setting you up for success. So think about this as one of the first job boards you will be using, or if you've already got lots of experience, then you should be a pro at this and you should be able to navigate your way through because it is quite user-friendly, quite straightforward, and quite consistent with other job boards that have been around designed before. Our platform is a place to connect you with our employer partners and the post-secondary institutions who are supporting these work integrated learning experiences. Once you're in there, the jobs that you apply for, the interviews that you conduct yourself with, that's all in your hands. This is all guided to prepare you for the skills you'll need for career success. Okay? Let's talk about eligibility. So Propel, as you heard from the beginning of this presentation, is a program that's funded by the Government of Canada. And the Government of Canada, there's a branch of the Government of Canada called ESDC, which is Employment Skills Development Canada. And they've designed this program, which is ultimately called the Student Work Placement Program. The Student Work Placement Program exists in many sectors. This is the first time it's ever been available in the hospitality and tourism sector, but it's been available in a number of other sectors for a number of years. These eligibility criteria are determined by ESDC. They're not determined by Tourism HR Canada or your academic institution. But these are eligibility criteria that we have also shared with our employer partners, so our employer partners are keenly aware. Unfortunately, at this time, these eligibility criteria cannot be changed, regardless of some of the things that we would like to see changed. We've certainly expressed our intent to advocate for some program changes, but at this stage, these are the eligibility criteria. So if you are a Canadian citizen, permanent resident, or person to whom refugee protection has been conferred under the Immigration and Refugees Protection Act, you are eligible for opportunities that employers can access this wage subsidy for. For the moment, unfortunately, if you are an international student and not a Canadian citizen and permanent resident, there aren't wage subsidies available for you under this program. We recognize that there are a lot of international students enrolled in hospitality and tourism programs, and if you're listening to this and you are one, do not be discouraged by this. We value you, we respect you, we want to support you as best we can, but at the moment, the Government of Canada program does not fund wage subsidies for international students. So as you can tell just by the tone of my voice and the things that we're talking about here, that's an unfortunate eligibility piece, but please don't be discouraged. Carry on just as you have been, overcoming so much to be here and to study. The hospitality and tourism industry still needs you out there, and there are lots of great opportunities and lots of employers out there willing to pay you for work integrated learning experiences, regardless of their ability to access these wage subsidies. So keep going. Students must be legally entitled to work in Canada in accordance with relevant provincial or territorial legislation and regulation. Students must be registered at a recognized Canadian post-secondary institution in a program that includes a work placement, and you must be enrolled in a program that has a work integrated learning component. Generally speaking, that's the college, universities, cégep system across this country. Generally speaking, private career colleges or even high schools are not eligible for this wage subsidy. Registered, recognized Canadian post-secondary institution is a term used by ESTC. So if you do need more information in terms of whether the institution you're in meets that criteria, you can find that on our website, but it is also one of their eligibility criteria. So yes, that's a lot of technical process. Don't worry about it too much. We just wanted to make sure you are aware of it. As you go into apply.propelcareers.ca, you will see a lot of questions you need to fill out just to make sure you're eligible for all this. But again, do not be discouraged. These are just steps in a process that you need to navigate to find yourself a really great and meaningful paid work integrated learning experience along the way in your career. As you know from the programs you've been studying, this is all about us giving you the skills and experience you need to succeed in your career. If you haven't figured it out by now, you're going to figure it out, that your career is ultimately in your hands. We are here to support you. We are here to believe in you, but the success that you create through your academic program and the success that you create through your work integrated learning experience leads to the success that you will create in your career. So we are behind you, we are beside you, we are supporting you, but the future is ultimately in your hands, and we want you to get out there and find great experiences and build meaningful, engaging, positive careers for yourself to benefit your life, your family, and your industry. So at this stage, that's the formal component of our presentation. We wanted to spend about half the time giving you the details you may need to access the Propel program. And then we wanted to give you a little bit of time to ask questions for us to answer. We got some great questions ahead of time. You guys are all incredible students, of course. You did your pre-homework. This is a flipped webinar. Thanks for that feedback. We'll start working our way through those questions. I will tag my partner, Rachel, when I need her expertise. Dan is going to quarterback the questions so that you make sure that everything that you're asking gets answered. But if for some reason we don't cover everything today, or if you want more information, or if you're more like me and you're a little bit of an introvert and you'd like to think about what you just experienced and ask your question later, this is an email address you can use, propel@tourismhr.ca. And everything that we had been talking about previously, our webpage is propelcareers.ca. There are a lot of tools and resources there for you. You can gain a deeper understanding of what work integrated learning means. The Tourism HR Canada website is full of information, full for you. Our goal is to build a robust tourism workforce so that we can have a successful and growing tourism industry. And if you've ever paid attention to what's happening in the world, especially in the hospitality and tourism industry over the last few months, you will start to see that optimism and hope is returning. And every single aspect of the hospitality and tourism industry centers around people. Our value proposition to guests, to clients, to customers is that we will take good care of them and provide amazing experiences to them. We can't do that without people. We need you. We're waiting for you. We're excited to have you. And we are supporting you as much as we can possibly support you to launch your very long-standing and exciting adventure-filled career in tourism and hospitality in this country. So, Dan, I think I'm going to see if you have any questions for us, and Rachel and I will do our best to answer them.
Thank you so much, Joe, and thank you, Rachel. So a few questions were submitted beforehand when everyone registered, so I'll read those out first. But to everyone that's attending this live session, if you have any questions that just occurred to you over the next 25 or the last 25 minutes, feel free to just type those into the chat box or the Q&A box, which are on the right-hand side of your screen. But I'll read out some of the questions you guys sent over beforehand, and some of these were definitely touched on in the presentation just now, but we'll read them out anyways. So firstly, what are the jobs for us who are tourism services management students?
Great question. So tourism services management, tourism services are usually the guest-facing services that are in place through tourism destinations. Depending on where you're going as a tourist, you will need support when you arrive there or in your planning. So those kinds of jobs are available. A lot of, you'll see the kind of terminology that maybe the guest services agent. I think about destinations like aquariums and zoos. I think about destinations such as big cities and small towns. I think about attractions. All of those have tourism services. Tourism services are the services that are generally available to the guests, to the customers as they arrive. So those are those kinds of opportunities. As you're searching for jobs, I would encourage you to use terminology. So search with the word tourism services and see what comes up, but also be open to looking for positions that match some of the things that you've learned. So again, look back on the courses you've taken in your programs, see what some of them are called. Maybe there's some marketing opportunity within tourism services, some communications opportunities, some social media promotion opportunities, some planning opportunities. Keep in mind that there are a lot of different jobs within the various segments of our field.
Thanks so much, Joe. And this is an internship related question. Can I expect a permanent job after the internship, and are any of the internships going to be located in Toronto?
Great question. So can you expect a job after your internship? Expecting anything is kind of leaning towards a bit of a guarantee. I don't think anything in your career is very guaranteed. However, I would say think about your internship as an opportunity for you to impress on your supervisor how valuable you would be to their organization should they hire you after your placement. I think if you conduct yourself that way, you increase your likelihood of being hired for a job after your placement. Certainly, as we are dealing with a lot of hospitality and tourism industry employers. We are encouraging them to think of their students on work integrated learning as future hires. So yes, and lots of opportunities in Toronto. Again, if you're searching for opportunities within our portal, you will see that you can actually search by geographic region and you can find jobs and work integrated learning experiences in Toronto.
Excellent. Very good to know. Thank you. And you touched upon this already, but a couple people had asked what kind of job positions are available right now.
All sorts of jobs. You know, the tourism and hospitality industry is a very seasonal industry, and there are a lot of businesses and organizations, resorts, golf clubs, destinations, attractions that have their peak season in the summer. The same can be said about ski resorts and snow destinations peak in the winter. So a lot of the jobs and the work integrated learning experiences that are in the portal right now reflect the seasonal nature. So you should act quickly and move towards finding something that suits your needs for the upcoming May semester. Don't be surprised if a lot of them center around seasonal activities.
Of course. Yeah, that makes sense. And someone had asked, I'm a student with quite a few years of experience in the industry already. Is this relevant to me as well? Thank you.
So if your program has a component of work integrated learning in it, if you have a field placement you have to complete or a co-op placement you have to complete, I suppose it doesn't really matter whether the concept of work integrated learning is relevant to you as much as it matters that you are seeking and securing a work integrated learning experience that challenges you at the right level. Within the portal, there are lots of opportunities at varying levels. Some are entry level, some require more experience. So the onus is really on you to invest the time to look for an opportunity that suits the skills and experience that you already have and the skills and experience that you're trying to develop throughout your placement or throughout your formal component of work integrated learning that complements your program.
Fantastic. And a number of students had asked, can we work remotely? And then someone asked specifically, can we work remotely during the school break of May to September?
So yes, you can if there is a remote experience posted. So there are some aspects of jobs within the hospitality and tourism industry that are remote in nature or that could be done remotely. Doing a remote work integrated learning experience does not mean that those employers are not eligible for those wage subsidies. We encourage employers to post remote opportunities, in-person and hybrid opportunities. So you should be able to find something that's remote. However, keep in mind that many of the jobs within our sector are destination based, in a restaurant, in a hotel, at a destination, at an airport. So some of those may not be able to be done remotely, but if employers post remote opportunities, then you can absolutely apply for them.
Of course, yeah, okay. And a question was direct messaged to me just now. Does the internship or job need to be approved by my school, or can I do it without their approval to gain experience?
So I suppose that depends on the academic program. We talked about this, in the eligibility criteria. If the program that you're enrolled in has a component of work integrated learning built into it, meaning that it's written in one of your course outlines, or it's advertised as part of the program, or it's listed as its own course, then however you achieve that placement is ultimately up to you at the discretion of that academic institution. I say it that way because some institutions need to approve the placements to make sure that what you're doing adds value to your program. But in some cases, the institutions defer to the students to find the appropriate work integrated learning experience. So you should validate with your institution, with your faculty, with your program coordinator, with your chair or your director. You should validate whether you can go out and find your own placement or not. The one thing that we do say is if you are going out to find your own placement and your placement wasn't listed anywhere, we do encourage you to tell your employer, and sometimes this acts as an incentive. Hi, I meet all the eligibility criteria of the Propel program. If you hire me, you are eligible for a wage subsidy up to $5,000. If somebody walked through the doors of my business and said that to me, I would make sure that I paid enough attention to them that I give that an opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's really good to keep in mind. Definitely. And let's see. Okay, a couple questions here. What are the sales opportunities in the tourism industry? What about customer service? And are there part-time opportunities available?
Great question. Lots of sales opportunities in the hospitality and tourism industry, and virtually at every sector. The hotel industry has a lot of sales opportunities. The tourism travel industry has lots of sales opportunities. Restaurants, catering, events, lots of sales opportunities. So again, as you're in the portal, make sure that you're searching for opportunities that have the word sales in them. Part-time is an interesting question. If your work integrated learning experience needs to be completed over a matter of time, so we've seen some people say, oh, I need to have, 120 work hours completed before I can graduate, then I suppose you could do that part-time. And we certainly have employers who are posting part-time opportunities, and they are eligible for wage subsidies. That information is all in the portal. When you're going through, you will be able to see the number of hours per week that are posted for each opportunity. And again, at your discretion to find something that both meets the requirement of your academic program and meets your career aspirations.
That's perfect. And it's good to know that there'll be enough detail on there for the students to be able to make their best choice. And let's see. Oh, here's a good one. Will students with no work experience be considered?
So if you are a student enrolled in a post-secondary program, there is a very high likelihood that you don't have any experience. I would say that's a fairly safe assumption for employers who are posting opportunities, trying to attract people to start their careers. But at the end of the day, very much like we say, this is an independent process. It's up to you to find the right placement. Well, it's also up to the employer to find the right candidate. So I would say there is a high likelihood that there are lots of opportunities out there that don't require much experience, but that there may be some that do require experience. Don't be discouraged, just persist. Lots of entry-level roles, specifically in the customer service space, that just require your willingness and your excitement and your enthusiasm to show up. And I think, again, try not to look at this as you having an absence of experience. Try to look at this as you having an abundance of background, an abundance of life experience and personality characteristics that make you that ideal candidate.
Excellent. And this next question is kind of similar to the question that was direct messaged to me, but since it's a little bit different, I'll read it out anyways. Does it have to be linked to a work integrated learning or internship course as part of their studies, or can we also access the Propel program during the semester that is our required break?
So that's a complex question. So the Propel program itself is a wage subsidy program that is designed to provide wage subsidies to employers who are hiring students for paid work integrated learning experiences. All of that means that the work integrated learning that is funded through this program is funded for students who are in a program that has a formal component of work integrated learning. If you are doing a part-time job or a summer job or time in between semesters, if you then don't meet that eligibility criteria, then those employers won't be able to access our wage subsidies. However, that all being said, there is a massive number of available positions in the hospitality and tourism industry right now for a number of reasons. Reason number one, it's a very busy time. Spring, summer is always a busy time in the industry. And number two, we've all been dealing with the pandemic and the lockdowns and the shutdowns and the travel restrictions over the last couple of years. So things have been fairly quiet, and now things are starting to get busy again. So you can go into the portal into the Propel Careers portal, you can see paid work integrated learning opportunities. There are also lots of job opportunities in there and in other places. We don't ever want to discourage you from pursuing what you need to pursue, but as it relates to a specific technical answer to that question, the Propel program only funds work integrated learning, not part-time or seasonal jobs. So there are lots of other kinds of grants out there that fund those things, and I would not imagine you will have a challenging time finding opportunities.
Right. Okay. Thanks so much. And I've just been sent another question. Let's see. So Amanda's asking, I'm in the propelcareers.ca site looking for internship and career opportunities. Will I only be able to see this after creating a profile, or can a job seeker also take a peek before they create their profile?
I'm going to ask Rachel to answer that one. Rach?
Sure. So you would need to create an account on the apply.propelcareers.ca URL that's provided. That's the way you can get into the system or the platform where employers are posting these opportunities. I hope that helps.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rachel. Yeah, and Amanda says thank you as well. So I think there's just a couple more before we wrap up. So someone had asked, typically, how long are the internships, and are there internships in other countries?
Ooh, great question. So how long are the internships? That really depends on the employer, and it depends on the academic program that you're enrolled in. Usually the program that you're enrolled in will dictate the length of your placement or your internship. That could be because it's an independent course that's half the length of a semester or the full length of a semester. Could also be a number of hours required. So to be available, to the students enrolled in these programs, the academic partners and academic institutions need to identify the length of the internship. So that's something that is probably available to you through your program. There are internships, placements available internationally, but again, because this program is specifically funded by the Government of Canada, and the only employers who are eligible for this wage subsidy funding are registered Canadian businesses. For the purpose of this program, there are no international placements posted in the propelcareers.ca portal.
Thanks so much, Joe. And I think we're on to the final question now. Let's see. Are there any global restrictions to remote work?
Great question. So at the stage that you have applied for an opportunity and at the stage that you are hired by an employer, and as you saw when we were kind of going through that, students are ultimately hired. You are an employee of a company. So when you begin your placement, you are an employee of a company. The conditions of where you can work from would ultimately then be determined by the company that you're working for. So that kind of information may not be available in the posting, but if you are applying for a remote posting, it's probably a pretty good question to ask through the interview process. Hi, I'd really like to apply for this posting, but I would like to know if I could work from another country. And that's ultimately at their discretion.
Amazing. Thanks so much. And I do believe that's it for the submitted questions. So I would like to thank everyone for attending this session today. Really appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to be here. And again, if you happen to sign in a few minutes late, I'll be distributing the recording of this session just as soon as the recording is processed. So I'd like to give a huge thank you to Joe Baker and Rachel George. It was great having you here virtually with us today.
Thank you very much, Dan, and thank you everyone for having us. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks so much. Take care, everyone.